I became an activist because I was a soldier in the Israeli army. I'm 38 years old. I served 20 years ago. I served in the Special Forces unit of the Infantry Nachal Brigade, and me and my team were snipers. And when you serve as a sniper in the West Bank and Gaza, you are inside Palestinian cities, towns, but more than everything else, you are inside Palestinian homes. Almost every night we did an operation that is called the straw window. Straw window is when you take a private Palestinian house and turn it into a military post. It means that you have to storm the house in the middle of the night, drag all of the family members from their beds, and put them in one room so they won't bother us. And then we put our sniping rifles, and me as the spotter of the team, I would put my thermal camera in one of the rooms. Then we start scanning the city. And during that time, if one of the family members wants to eat, to drink, to take medicine, to go to the bathroom, they need authorization from us, because it's our house. It's not their house anymore. And straw window could be 2 hours, or 4 hours, or 6 hours, or 2 days, right? And after that ends, we just take all of our weapons and everything, and we go back to the base. And when we go back to the base, the first time we did it, I understood that we ruined the Palestinian family's life. Not because we had information, not because we want to shoot at someone, because they told us this is a routine operation. You have to be with your sniping rifles inside the Palestinian city. And I was brought up on the idea that I have to protect Israel. That what I'm doing in the Israeli army is protecting Israel. And that wasn't protecting Israel. That was controlling Palestinians. And that's a different thing altogether. So you ask me how I became an activist. I served in the IDF. And I think that as an Israeli, we have the moral obligation to speak about what we did over there. It's not a secret that belongs to me as a soldier or as an Israeli. It's something that everybody should know that is happening almost every night. Straw windows like I did. But every day, we have checkpoints and the Palestinians giving permits and now fighting in Gaza and arrest. It's an ongoing occupation of 57 years. As soldiers, we are getting commands to do all kinds of operations. But one of the main commands that we are getting as IDF soldier, it's called making your presence felt. And what does it mean, making your presence felt? So all of the Palestinians would know who controls them. Throw a stun grenade in the middle of a Palestinian village in the middle of the night. Or build a makeshift checkpoint. So Palestinians won't know if they need to go through 2 checkpoints or 10 checkpoints on their way to work or to school or to the grocery shop. And stop Palestinians in taking their IDs and question them. And by the way, now we have a new system. It's called the Wolfpack. It's a facial recognition system. It means that I'm stopping Palestinians. I take a photo of their face with a cell phone, and an app tells me what to do, if to detain the Palestinians or to let them go, right? So moving on, it means that all of the Palestinians, all of the time, should understand that the IDF controls them. It doesn't matter if it's a nurse from a hospital, if it's a 14-year-old kid, or if it's a construction worker. All of them would feel our control. A lot of us lost our loved ones, and I think basically every Israeli knows somebody that was murdered in the Nova Festival, or one of the kibbutzes, or one of the 350 soldiers that died in the first couple of hours of the attack, right? I served in a special forces team, and my commander from the army, the day I finished my army service, he called me and said, Nadav, I know you, I know your political views. I just joined an organization, it's called Breaking the Silence. We're fighting the occupation, you should join. And I hanged the phone in his face. Because I told him, no, I want to go to South America, to forget about everything. But he didn't let go. And eventually I joined Breaking the Silence, and he was my mentor in all of my first months in Breaking the Silence. And he was a resident of Kibbutz Be'eri. And he defended the kibbutz. He was a part of the first response unit in the kibbutz for 7 hours until he ran out of ammunition, and then they killed him. And for me it was hard because it was my mentor, right? But also he was a man of peace. Shachar was really a man of peace, and felt revenge. I wanted to revenge. I was angry. I was so angry. But as an activist, a couple of hours later, I understood, okay, no, what I need to do is we need peace, right? And we need to stop the fighting over there. So that's something that I want our government, the people in Israel, would feel the same, to turn that bad energy to something that can bring us to a very good point. The main conception of Israel, that Benjamin Netanyahu is the leader of it, is managing the conflict. This is how we call it. We can build a huge wall around the Gaza Strip, and we can do military operations every couple of years, giving Palestinians humanitarian permits, and that's it. Everybody would forget about the occupation. And we can do the Abraham Accords and speak in normalization with the Muslim world, and that's it. And that exploded very bloody and harsh on October 7th, right? our military strengths and technology, they won't stop it. First of all, we have to remember that we have a government in Israel that in their guidelines, it says that only the Jewish people has the right to self-determination inside Israel, and they are actively working for annexation. So that's our government, right? A couple of years ago, the State of Israel and the settler movement, they cracked the system, right? You don't need to build a big settlement with lots of families and kindergartens and all of that. No. You take one family. It's a sheep herder unauthorized outpost in a remote area. We were in the South Hebron Hills area, a desert area. And it's like 4 or 5 people, but 200 heads of cattle or goats or sheep. And then they get hundreds and sometimes thousands of dunams or acres to go around with their ships. And we, the soldiers, we have to protect them. Doesn't matter where they are going. And they are very, very violent. In the last 15 years, most of the settler violence are from that sheep herders unauthorized outpost. Zanuta, a cave dwellers community, a Palestinian cave dwellers community in the South Hebron Hills that was abandoned after October 7th because the settlers took advantage that all of the eyes of the world and Israel were on Gaza or on Lebanon, and they unleashed settler violence. And Zanuta was the largest cave dweller community that fled. They left. Why? Because settlers were very violent towards them from the unauthorized outpost next to them. IDF soldiers protected the violent settlers, right? And the community left. About 400 adults and a couple of hundreds of goats and sheep, the largest one. And 18 communities fled since October 7th. Right? So this is our government that wants to make the Oslo Accords disappear, right? Using settler violence, and we have to remember, settler violence or the settlement, it's not something that it's detached from Israel. It's a part of the policy. If I'm, as a soldier, I'm not allowed to enforce law on violent settlers, it means that settlers or violent settlers are a part of the system, are part of the mechanism of the occupation, right? That when you speak the truth, and when you take responsibility, like what breaking the silence, we're taking responsibility of what we did. We're saying to the Israeli society and to the world, this is what we're doing, right? We need to address this. And when you speak truth to power in front of human beings, they understand that. And that gives me power it gives me energy every week when I meet Israelis. It doesn't matter if we argue or not, if we agree or not, the conversation exists. And we can see what happened with the liberal democratic camp in Israel or with the anti-occupation bloc in Israel. Gets bigger and bigger because people understand that we cannot be an occupying power forever, right? 57 years, that's too much. That's our forever war, right? It's too much.